A diminishing number of very dedicated people put a vast amount of hard work in desperately difficult conditions just so that we can stuff our faces with fish and chips without sparing a thought for the guys who caught them. In spite of the labour problems, there's enough fish for this morning's auction. The fish disappears at great speed, and you can't make head nor tail of how it gets bought or sold.
Right, 22 by 51 by 36 there, then going again for these and start them off. Going again for 4-5, 4-10, 4-10, 15, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40, 40, 40, 45, 45, 50, 55, 55 is a no, 450 is there. 3 boxes there. Right, right off the go again then. 450, 55, 55, 450, no, 2, 17 plus 36,
Used to be about £19 a kilo.
24. Next, 9 boxes and a piece. Straighten them up for those in, gents.
The guy away, fortunately he's off today because he's got a little girl that's ill, so he stayed at home. So he's looking after his daughter because she's been sick all night, which is what happens. You'll find this out. You'll find it out one day when you've got children. And
with my Phil last week, wasn't you?
Was it you? Oh, we were on the phone, weren't we?
Yeah, that's it.
What are you doing?
All right, Dahlia, out sunny Grimsby, eh? Take care, though. Enjoy.
my son works for Aston Martin cars. That new supercar I've just brought out. Mad, isn't it? 3.5 million for a car. Can you imagine that? And there was a guy, his car was on the assembly line, and my son was showing him his car, and behind his car was a soft top one. So he said to my son, James, I'll have one of those as well. I'll have a soft top as well. 7 million. Obscene, innit? He's bloody lucky to have one, let alone two. Mad, isn't it? Come in a jumbo jet, converted, for him and his wife and his 2 children. Have you seen the size of a jumbo jet? They are huge. I've been to sea, I was at sea for a few years, chief engineer, but I used to love it. I mean, it's a single man's job, it's no good when you're married, and especially when you've got children. I was coming home when I had my daughter first, and when I used to come home, she used to run to my wife's leg and hold her leg and look at me and think, and then she was pregnant and then having my son. I said, as soon as you've had the baby, I'm packed up, so. Got a better relationship now. You don't get a good relationship with your children when you keep coming and going, and not being funny, she was more familiar with the postman because he came every day, if you know what I mean. When I first came home, she didn't know who I was, and I thought, I don't want this, no way, no way. And thankfully, touch wood, I've got a really good relationship with my daughter now. We're very close, and my son, Yeah, both of them. That's what it's all about in a family. I think, anyway. Yeah. There you go. Steel's in the marketplace. Have you been there? Have you had it? It's good, isn't it? That's our secret. We don't tell many people where to go.
So many old characters that are still in the town that have been out fishing for years and years and years. You go out and work really hard in those awful, awful conditions. But people have been sitting in the same place every week for 40 years and they don't like change. So your customer's happy with it, isn't it?
And my mum was telling us she started using this restaurant when her and my dad first just got married. So that was in March 1977. And it wasn't long after they got married then she discovered she was carrying me. So when I say I've been coming here all my life, yeah, I have. Obviously my brother goes. My brother's in his 40s, but he goes. My mum worries from the day he leaves until the day he comes back. She marks it off on a calendar every single day. How many days he's been away, this, that and the other. And my dad always goes, you never did that for me. It's not the same. That's my boy. Do you know? That's my brother's boat. And that looks like a painting, but that's actually a real photo. Everybody pretty much in Grimsby will have somebody within their family who's been a fisherman. That's all we know. Do you know, from me being a young girl, that's all we know. My dad's gone to sea. My granddad was chief engineer on the boat. I only know people that's gone to sea. I don't really know a lot of people that haven't gone to sea. I don't eat fish. I'm from a fishing family and I don't touch it. Do not touch it, no. And my daughter's allergic to it.
Cheers guys, thank you.
I'll leave the toilet, Dad.
Okay, you go in one minute.
Wait, Dad.
Yes, I'll wait out here, you go in one.
Sorry.
Would you like the samphire?
It's a herb.
Yeah, it's like a... Well, it's like a... it's hard to describe. It grows on the marshes, salt marshes. It's just like a grass, basically. Do you want a bit?
Sort the little fishes out.
It's full of iron and goodness. My ideal day is to sell all my fish, then when I finish have a cup of coffee, then make the journey home. And you know, people say to me, do you still go to London? In a way that means, do I still come? Obviously, I still do the same thing every week. It's repetitive. Oh, I've seen many good things, bad things, but it can be lonely, you know, and I do sort of like today, I will be picking a passenger up who comes from Grimsby originally, and so many years ago he fell out with his parents and moved to London. And one day when I was on Kennington Lane, filling my van up with diesel, I got a tap on the side of my van. Are you from Grimsby? Of course, I said yes. He says, do you know my dad? I said, well, yeah, I do know Bob. He said, well, he wants to see me. And he said, I haven't seen him in 6 years. And he said, is there any chance you'll take me back to Grimsby? So every couple of weeks he jumps in the van and I take him back to see his dad. So I put a family back together basically, you know, and when I dropped him off at 4 in the morning, his dad was there waiting for him and they had a big hug. And I just didn't know what to do. I just put my thumb up and said, good luck. And now he goes home quite regular to see his dad. He gets in touch with me and I drop him off at his parents'.